Hey guys, so tonight, um, this is our second week into Domestic Violence Month, and so tonight I'm going to talk about financial and emotional abuse. I have some notes here, so if you see me looking down, I just may reference those. Um, so for financial and emotional abuse, those are some very serious things. Let's talk about the financial first. If you are in an abusive relationship but came out of one, the financial part, there's two things. If you handle the money, then when you leave or if you're coming out, you may have an anxiety about the money because if you handle the money and then you paid all the bills and then the abuser was like, why don't we have any money? Why is this off? And everything was your fault. You may develop a phobia with handling money. And you may think, oh, no, I won't. It depends on the abuse and how strong it was. In my case, I made the money as well as paid the bills. And so for me, it became a thing like, oh my goodness, I have to pay the bills. I don't have enough money. What am I going to do? Trying to always figure out the problem. It was not something that we shared. It was always my fault that the bills were not paid. It was always going to be my fault. And so I carried that on after I left. And it took some years for me to realize, why was I afraid of doing things with my money? And I know it sounds crazy, but you know, the ramifications of all of it can is a bigger net than you could possibly think. So if you were the one handling money, you may have a problem with money after you leave just because you're always looking over your shoulder waiting for somebody, hey, you did that wrong, you didn't do this, why did you do that? And give an account for your money. If your abuser was in charge of the money and so now you're on your own handling the money, then you have that feeling of, am I doing the right thing? Because there's no one here in your ear telling you, hey, this is what you have to do with the money, this is what you don't have to do with the money. And it may take you some time before you're comfortable. I know for me, and I speak, when I say you, I'm speaking on my experience. It took me a while to be like, no one's here. I need to take care of this, and and not feel bad about it, because in the beginning I felt bad, and I don't know if I can put it into words, but I felt bad that I had to do what I had to do, but then that little voice is there. Did you make the right decision? Why did you do that? Why did you put your money up here? Why don't you spend money on that? You should have saved your money. And so sometimes that negative talk that you hear from the abuser can show up in the strangest and oddest places. Emotional, emotionally. Um, when you first leave your abuser, you have to be patient with yourself. Other people have to be patient with you. And here's one thing you have to realize is they are going to try to help you and love you the best way they know how. You can't be angry with them. But all of the work has to come from you. There's no way around that. There's no other option. There's no anything. You have to do the work that you have to do to make sure that you are where you are. Will it be hard? Yes. And so for some days you take it second by second and minute by minute. But the reason why, I want you to remember the reason why you left, or if you're sharing this with someone, remind them the reason why they left or the reason why they're thinking about leaving is because there is this quiet voice down in your gut. It's down in yours. It's down there and it's saying, you're not crazy. You don't deserve to be here. You're awesome. You're pretty amazing. And it's in there. And that's why you chose to leave. And that's why you choose to start every day over and get up every day and keep running. Because some days, and I use this analogy, some days it felt like I was fighting the wind, like the wind was blowing in my face, like I'm running as fast as I can go, and the wind is blowing me in my face to the point where I can't run forward because it keeps pushing me back. And then it's at those moments where I feel overwhelmed or I'm being pushed so hard I have to put my head down, take a deep breath, put my head up, and keep on running. And you will have those days, but if I promise, if you listen to that quiet voice, It will tell you what you need to do. So this is what I started doing. And if you share this with anybody, you can tell them this. One day, just decide tomorrow. You can decide tonight that you're going to let that quiet voice that's talking to you be the only thing that speaks to you. When I felt like those days where I wasn't good enough, I wasn't doing this right, it was that small voice that said, "Hey, JoJo, you're not crazy. You're pretty awesome. Stop and think about what you've done and some of the things and the people, and just listen, look at you, and don't look at anybody else." And what you'll realize is that voice will get louder. And your day will be pretty amazing when you start to let that quiet voice do whatever it wants to do. When that quiet voice says to you, "You're awesome," you start to believe that. And eventually that quiet voice gets louder and louder and louder until you don't hear the negative stuff every day. You just don't hear it. You don't pay it any attention. You have to remind yourself every day. I remind myself every day, you're amazing. Uh, you're better than what you're going through. Is it hard? Yes. Will it get better? Yes. Will it take time? Yes. But right now, I'm pretty amazing at what I'm doing. I woke up, and for some, that's all you can do. I took care of the kids. Hey, I fed them, and I went to work. I came home, and I didn't have a nervous breakdown. I'm not in the corner crying. I'm not pulling my hair out. So I'm pretty amazing today. Today, and that's what you have to think about, that one thing that's going to make you project yourself forward. Um, it takes a lot of little steps. So just keep those in mind. I think of it like this. I look at my abuser and I think to myself, he saw the awesomeness in me. And I don't want you to think, oh, I got the big head, or I don't want to think better than myself than I should, because you don't want, that. But you have to realize they see something in you, and that something in you, they want to hold it down so you don't realize where they are. Once you realize where they are and where you are, then you be like, wait a minute, that doesn't match up. So they see the awesomeness in you, and they have to kill that spirit. They have to kill your strength. They have to kill all of that so that you won't leave them. You'll stay where they are. So if they can have control over you, you'll never be better than what they are, and they don't need you to be better. They need you to be right where you are, because if you get better, then you're going to go on and leave them. So, um, but guess what? They can't hold you down. They cannot hold you down. I just want you to listen to that small, quiet voice that you hear every day that tells you, and it's there. You may hear um, the negative stuff. You're fat, you're ugly, you're not good, you're not this, you're not that. You may hear that, but in all of that, there is a quiet voice. There is a scripture, and I'll add it somewhere in here after I post it. There's a scripture that said, the guy was in the mountain. I think it was Elijah. He was in the mountain, and he was resting, and he was trying to get himself together. He wanted to hear from God. There was an earthquake. No God. There was, a storm, and there was wind. No God. But when it was quiet, there was a still small voice, and he heard from God. So sometimes when there's crazy all around, you have to be still, and you have to be quiet and listen to that still small voice that says what you are. And then you have to believe it. Even if you believe it just for that 1 minute, that minute will turn into an hour, that hour will turn into a day. Does it sound crazy? Yep. But do you want to be crazy? No. Do you want to keep living like you living? No. I'm sure you don't want the black eyes, or, the bad hip, the bad back, the bad knee. I didn't want it. I didn't want any more of that. And so when I decided, hey, I didn't want any more of that, and I listened to that quiet voice, and it was literally every second I had to tell myself that, then it became easier for me to let that quiet voice get louder and louder and louder until I started to believe it. So when people are trying to help you, realize they can only help you so much, and they're helping you because they love you. But essentially, the internal work is all up to you. And I think that's just like everyday life. If you have problems, yeah, money may help it, but if it's an underlying problem or whatever it may be, you have to do the internal work. Hey, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be. I'm just telling you some of the things that helped me. So when you're dealing with people who are going through domestic violence, who have left their abuser and just left, and you don't understand their rational thinking, I just want to give you a little insight to the back part of how it happens. With the financial and the emotional, it takes longer to heal because when you have a black eye, it goes away and you can forget that it was there. The financial and emotional ramifications hold on a lot longer. So I hope this helps, guys. Please share it with someone. I greatly appreciate it. We have to stop the cycle of violence. You will be saving a life. Um, and it is that simple. You will save a life. You may not say, hey, that's not my business. I'm not involved. But think if that was your mother or your sister or your daughter, then what would you do? So you have to think about it on those lines. So if you guys need me for anything, if you have any questions, if I can help in any way, I will try my best um, to help you. All right, bye guys.